Alrighty, so today we'll be talking about a fruit that is very old and likely taken for granite, and which is of course the pomegranate. It's a very old fruit, but the plant is known as a shrub in the Lythraceae family that can grow between 5 and 10 meters tall. It originates from the Mediterranean regions of the earth, so more like Middle East, India, that area. They're considered a berry, or a quote unquote true berry, and they grow well in cool, drier climates. So you're going to see them more in more late fall, wintry months for most regions. So here in North America, you'll find them in more deserty regions, more dry, and likely in more fall months, as I mentioned, cooler, drier climates. And now we can discuss the history of the pomegranate. They're native to a region of what is now modern Iran and northern India, and it's one of the first fruits to be domesticated. As I mentioned earlier, very old. It's been identified as far back as the early Bronze Age, and it's held many symbolic meanings throughout history for multiple cultures for this reason. Symbolism wise, in Judaism, the fruit is said to have 613 seeds to represent the number of pages in the Torah, which is their religious text. The Greeks saw them as the fruit of the dead, thinking they grew from the blood of Adonis, and there are multiple stories in Greek mythology actually recounting different times where pomegranates grew from the spilled blood of someone, some sort of symbolic sacrifice. Besides that, in much less specific terms, many cultures see pomegranates as symbols of wealth, fertility, marriage, general prosperity. And then there are multiple health benefits to eating pomegranates. It's abundant in phytochemicals, tannins, and beneficial acids, so that's going to be great for just the general chemistry going on within your body. The high phenolic content of the peel makes a lot of uses in supplements and preservatives in food. The seeds are very high in the aforementioned beneficial oils and acids, and they also are a very high source of fiber, the seeds. Aside from those, it is in generally high in antioxidants, so consuming them multiple times a week, maybe even daily, will probably help a lot with just general health. And then, let's get to eating one. So, what you're going to need is a knife, of course, and a pomegranate. I'm probably going to have to change the camera up a little bit. Before I do that, let's go through some brief instructions. Well, yes, you could theoretically, with enough grip strength, just tear the whole thing open. That likely isn't, the most conducive way of opening one open. So I've laid out some instructions that you could probably find pretty easily. First off, you want to make a cut across the top of the pomegranate to, basically remove the quote-unquote lid of the pomegranate, and then you want to make slices down the ridges, these sides here. You'll see when I get to start cutting one, there are going to be visible lines running down the sides of the pomegranate's peel, and that will represent the separations of the sections of the seeds. And that being said, the sections are basically what makes this a somewhat tricky fruit to open. There is multiple ways you could, but this is the most efficient one I can find. And then there's a few general tips after you slice it down and open it open like a flower. Removing the seeds is just going to be somewhat tedious. There's no way around that. You have to work them out. You can smack the back of the pomegranate with a spoon or something to help loosen them, but in my experience, it is not that reliable. But somewhat helping with cleanup if you are not a big fan of the small pieces of peel that will likely make it into your seeds. You can just fill the bowl you're going to eat them out of with water and mix it up a little bit. The seeds should fall down to the bottom while the white pith or peel will stay up at the top. And as I said, prepare for a little mess. It's just going to be messy. It's a dark red juice inside of the fruit. It's going to get everywhere, and you may just have to wipe up a little mess. I'd say it's more than worth it, but then again, one of my favorite fruits. So, let's get to it. I'm going to put this away so I don't cover it in dark red juice, but let's start, shall we? So, like I said, first things first, you want to make a cut along the top here. Probably using a non-serrated knife. I'm using this for convenience purpose, but you know. You may have to make multiple cuts to make sure you properly remove the top, and sometimes I even go in and try to like cut out the center to make it even easier to remove the top. After this, the most important part is cutting down the ridges. The top part is honestly just to make it easier to peel open once we cut down the sides. I said not to use a serrated knife, but oddly enough, this is working quite well. Try not to make a mess so you can actually see what I'm doing. Apologies. Okay. It can be a little difficult to spot all the distinct ridges, but cutting all of them isn't exactly necessary. It's just very helpful. Might be one right here. Better safe than sorry. I'm going to forego filling the bowl with water right now, just because I don't see a real purpose in it at this moment, but that's just me. I personally don't care much about the little bit of flavor the pith will add to it, but yeah, teach their own. And like I said, you want to flour open after making these cuts. So I come from the back and push with my thumbs and pull with my fingers. And I think it's important to separate each of these little sections before you go in and fully crack it open, because I want to keep the separation relatively neat, because that makes it a little bit easier to extract the seeds from each little section. I won't make you sit here and watch me pull the seeds out, because that is likely the longest part of this process. But all you have to do is go through and gently help these seeds out with your fingers. It's not too difficult if you can get a nice straight line of them. Where you have to be careful is when they start doing these little bends inward, and you don't want to pop open the kernels, because that is more mess and more juice and less that you're going to be able to eat. All right, and just about all of them. Now I think it's time to show the washing step. Water running. Let me show you that. Oh yeah. So, before I pick up the camera. Alrighty. So, don't mind the dishes, but gonna fill it with a little bit of water. Get up to there. Then, after you've got it nice and full, set it down and give it a little mix. Give it a little mix. Check this out. A little mix, and you'll see all that white stuff coming to the top. And you can go in with your hand, you can go in with your spoon, you know, probably depends on who you're serving it to, but you know, you'll see all this pith coming to the top. You know, it looks a lot like this stuff, and it's gonna, yeah, it'll float up. You can separate it out, and then you can drain off the water and enjoy your pomegranate. And that'll be all. Thank you for your time.